Hello everybody, welcome back to Uninformed Opinion, a review and commentary series about the games I've streamed on my Twitch channel. All these streams are still available on my gaming YouTube channel, and you can find everything about me and what I do at AlexCloud2275. And I hope you are all doing well this fine day. So, a reminder of the format: there are no overall scores, just my uninformed opinion. We have 6 categories: gameplay, story and characters, level design and our visual aesthetics, or audio design and sounds, the replay value, and longevity. For today, we're going back in time to review
Resident Evil 4.
Wait, sorry, I mean...
Let's rock, baby.
Originally released in August 2001 by Capcom, and now readily available with the HD collection on your local systems. Players have the opportunity to relive the legendary demon-slaying adventures of Dante in all their scaled-up glory. Now, I'd hate to explain a joke, but a little fun fact is our beloved Devil May Cry series only exists as it was a beta of Resident Evil 4, but was deemed too action-orientated to comply with the rest of the series. So they took their idea and ran in a different direction with it, and all of us power fantasy nerds have been thankful ever since. Oh, and a spoiler warning is now in effect. Okay, first to the post is gameplay. Now, the gameplay of the original Devil May Cry remains as exhilarating as ever, although frankly it is slightly dated. I know, right? How dare I say a game that's 23 years old is dated. Controlling Dante feels as responsive and as intuitive as ever, and the combat mechanics are a joy to master. As this was my original introduction to the series back when I was a wee lad, it was a nostalgia overload for me in my replay. The game's emphasis on stylish action with its intricate combo system and acrobatic maneuvers sets it apart from many other titles of its time. Yet that's the clutch here. For its time. It's a solid foundation, but for a modern gamer, it does take some time to get used to. And that's a drawback with this game. It doesn't tell you how to do its combinations. Some special moves and certain attacks give you a nice tutorial, others, like the Million Stab, do not. So, from a gameplay standpoint, there's a lot of trial and error. It's a do something once, think, oh damn, that was pretty cool, and then trying to do it 8 times just to get the move out again. There are so many times I attempted to do a move, self-regulate, think to myself they've only introduced that in a later sequel, and then pulled off the move I was trying to do when trying to attempt another combo. It's a double-edged sword. There are a lot of pause combinations that can lead to a fun and stylish combo, but it doesn't tell you where the pauses are. However, for breaking the ice of the genre of spectacle fighters, I shouldn't be overtly critical. I mean, for the purposes of this commentary I am, but I shouldn't be. The game carefully introduces you to its various weapons, guns, and techniques, ensuring you're not overwhelmed at any one time. And this, again, is where you can see its Resident Evil roots, as the original set of mundane weapons are very similar. You start with pistols, which are still badass, to a shotgun, to a grenade launcher, and others. All reminiscent of finding these weapons for the first time from its grandfather titles. Now, in this game, you also get something that I failed to mention in my DMC 2013 review: the devil triggers. I know, right? What a disservice. But the game skewed the concept, so that's probably why it slipped my mind in the review. A Technicolor switch of the world doesn't compare to turning into an actual demon and abusing monsters with increased speed, attack combos, and general badassery. The game itself is a mix of corridors and open space battles to keep you on your toes, as well as a well-designed monsters with differing movesets applying different strategies to survive each of these encounters. There are puzzles and collecting go aspects to unlocking doors and areas reminiscent of the Resident Evil games that fed into Devil May Cry with its own stylized twist. The boss battles are engaging and diverse from each other, each with a kind of theme of a rule of 3 that goes all the way through, though not exactly. And each of these being fought in a different location, so that even the same or similar moveset of the enemies that you fight is transformed and different. And where would we be without our good old friend, the style meter? A staple of all Devil May Cry games, but for the original, D is for dull, C is for cool, B is for bravo, A is for awesome, and S is for stylish. Now from a gameplay standpoint, it doesn't really add anything to the form, but from a player standpoint, it's a trick, a little gimmick to be graded on your battle prowess, but god damn doesn't it work.
Balloon arch.
Oh my god, Captain. She is magnificent.
Vindication!
It keeps you, the player, pushing and makes you satisfied. In addition, all the missions you complete on your journey are ranked as well, which adds bonuses to the red orbs you get, then which goes towards the affordability of the weapon upgrades, creating a sense of need and resource gathering at the same time. Now all in all, for a first attempt, the combat works, the items are scarce and almost always useful. Though the item limit can get annoying, it's just the game's way to prevent you from fruitless spending or mistake spending. Right, let's be honest, in the modern world of gaming, you know, of your God of Wars and your Last of Us, to call what Devil May Cry has a story is an injustice. This is not to say that there isn't one and that it isn't engaging, but we have to just be honest here. It draws a very short straw. Now, while the story of Devil May Cry may not be its strongest aspect, Dante's charisma carries you through the experience. From epic boss battles to memorable encounters with demons.
You got something inside that big body of yours.
The narrative serves as a complementary backdrop for the adrenaline-fueled action. This is not to say the game doesn't have an engaging story either, unlike some other title. Cough cough, Devil May Cry 2, cough cough. So let's get to it. A call to action bursts through Dante's front door. And quite literally, more premise is laid down for the player.
You're the man who lost a mother and a brother to evil 20 years ago. The son of the legendary Dark Knight Sparta, Mr. Dante.
Whoa, slow down, babe.
Dante explains his motivation.
A lot of your kind comes around. And if I kill each one that comes, eventually I should hit the jackpot sooner or later.
In that case, you should be used to this sort of thing.
And it turns out the aggressor of our little tango is the spitting image of Dante's long-dead mummy dearest. Then we begin our story traveling into a castle on an island in the middle of nowhere. In Europe. I swear I've heard this story before. Well, let's be frank. Devil May Cry did beat Resident Evil 4 to the punch by 3 years. So really, who's copying who here? Then that's it. You're on to the races. The person who brought you here, Trish, jumps away and...
Your mission, should you choose to accept it,
is to find Mundus and save the day. But first you gotta get item A, put it into slot A, then get item B, put it into slot B, picking up shotguns and other toys along the way. The act setup is broken up per big boss that you fight. First act is the Fountain, which works as a fight, chase, another chase, and then another fight. During this, you're introduced to the only other character that has any meaning to the story. This Night Demon guy. And he challenges you to a duel. Then gives you a whooping. And then something catches his eye and he remembers he left the oven on in hell. Then more item collecting to unlock door C, to get to widget D, etc, etc. You fight the Phantom again, killing that thing, and then Trish looks up at you ominously and in awe at your raw triangle spamming power. You go outside, fight more monsters, then a giant chicken wants to mess with you, and you fight the giant chicken. Then he runs away to attack you later. Mr. Mid-Act boss battle comes back to give you another whooping, but this time you tucker him out and he needs to have a bit of a lie down. Dante moves on to live a bit of the pirate life, and then that chicken wants to get fried for a second time. We explore a minor career in diving whilst getting item E and jumping through hoop F, and Senior Chicken wants a third word with you. And here, when you finally defeat him, our big bad Mundus finally reveals himself. Well, I mean the triple I part of himself. Just to tell you that the poor chicken's name is Griffin, before turning him into
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
So come on, it's a finger-licking Kentucky Fried Chicken. A finger-licking good day.
which gives Dante a point to realise he's a good person and reaffirm our character's faith and his revenge mission. Which is needed, because frankly, I was getting a little tired of being a glorified locksmith. Yet now it's time to backtrack because day has turned to night and everything has gotten a little spookier. Then you find him for a third time, Mr. Mystery, and he's tapped into... And now he has a face, and that hair, and those eyes, and those moves! After the whooping he gives you the first time, or the second, it's revealed that our knight in the technicolored armor is our brother. Then our statue, Big Bad Mundus, is revealed, and that Trish is his servant! And now that the two amulets are aligned, the sword that was made obsolete in the most badass way possible has a purpose again. It becomes the legendary demon sword Sparta. And now we can access the underworld. And after fighting the boss of the third act twice, you finally enter the underworld. Then you find your own personal mommy issues, injured and in need of your help. But...
It's a trap!
Then it's a double cross. Then it's actually possibly the most emotional moment of the series.
Dante! Dante, why did you save my life?
Because you look like my mother. Now get out of my sight. The next time we meet, it won't be like this.
Dante!
Don't come any closer, you devil!
You may look like my mother, but you're nowhere close to her. You have no soul. You have the face, but you'll never have her fire.
Then you confront him. The evil that put all of this into motion. The statue, who then uses your mummy issues as a hostage, which then fills Dante with the ever essential motivation of kill that bitch! He transforms, you transform, the fight ensues. Now, as this is the story and character section, we are gonna gloss over my issues with the boss battle. And guess what? After some trial and error, you win! Dante is returned to the chapel, hands over his belongings to Trish, and explains how he...
I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
Then there's a time trial to get out of Dodge for... reasons? And we're about to leave until our rule of 3 comes into play for our last battle. Then Dante gets tuckered out until he hears his mother's voice.
Mother.
Just in time for walking talking mummy issues to come down, and Dante completes his story with a not so subtle line that it's taken me 23 years to clock onto.
And if I kill each one that comes, eventually I should hit the jackpot sooner or later.
It looks like we have a winner.
Jackpot.
And then we must escape the island. No, not that island. No, not that one either. That's the one. And our characters fly off into the sunset and live happily ever after. Well, until the sequel at least.
This one has the password. Sounds heavy.
Okay, let's get it over with in 10 minutes. Can't let a single one of those suckers live.
5 minutes.
More than enough.
Now, the level design in Devil May Cry is both atmospheric and meticulously crafted. From the haunting halls of the demon-infested castle to the treacherous depths of the underworld, each environment is filled with detail and atmosphere, enhancing the sense of immersion. Now, despite being over 2 decades old, the visual aesthetics of Devil May Cry still hold up well enough. The gothic architecture and dark and moody atmosphere create a sense of foreboding that is both captivating and engaging. It complements the Judeo-Christian replacement narrative, and its inclusion drives home the divine, which contrasts with the belly of the beast that you get in the last act. Now, while the graphics may not rival modern titles, the art direction remains a standout feature of the game. And the ability to revisit areas in various different lighting and textures is satisfying and really drives home the progression in your story and your journey as the player. And unlike my previous commentary on the 2013 DMC, there is no solid connection between the boss battles and the visual themes in these levels. However, this game does offer mass variety in its own little island, from the castle structure to the courtyards to the haunted forest, adding a sense of scale. There are points where there are sharp changes in a section of variety that's only really seen in this game compared to its other titles. Now, the first-person underwater travelling isn't amazing, but it's a fun change of pace, and it leads to the pirate ship Wonderland, as well as the underworld, which we've already mentioned. And for the time, they looked amazing. For the HD upscale, they are very passable. The character models are fine, and the Devil Trigger looks progressively better as you proceed in the game. The last act Devil Trigger designs are good, and the end boss battle, though gameplay is annoying, visually shows the immensity and scale of Mundus' power. And ending the game is a classic hero going off into the sunset, and it's a nice touch, and it always will be. Okay, not that sunset.
No need to worry, right? Because the world has the legendary Dark Knight Dante and his sidekick.
The audio design of Devil May Cry is as impactful as ever, with a dynamic soundtrack that perfectly complements the on-screen action. From pulse-pounding battle themes to eerie ambient background sounds. The music enhances the atmosphere and sets the tone for each encounter. Additionally, the sound effects are crisp and satisfying, further immersing the players in the world of Devil May Cry. The swords slash, the punches punch, and each gun is satisfying. Okay, well, most of them. Devil May Cry offers plenty of replay value for people who want to take it. And I'll be the first to admit, it's an opportunity I never really progressed on fully. I mean, yes, I have played this game several times when I was younger on the PlayStation 2. Another time a few years later in the HD collection, recently again when I started streaming. Players can challenge themselves to achieve higher star ranks, unlock new abilities, and discover hidden secrets. Yeah, as this is my uninformed opinion, I only pick up this game every 5 years, maybe. Literally, if you're looking to burn a few hours once every couple of years, the replay value is definitely there, but I personally haven't taken it to the nth degree. As the game launched a beloved franchise, Devil May Cry has stood the test of time and continues to captivate players over decades later. It's a timeless classic, but remember, it is a classic. Some of its movements are slower, the voice acting is a bit dated, but pure gold in some parts. It's been re-released and updated onto so many consoles, we may just be approaching its half-life, but it's still a gem. And unlike many other games of its times that have screamed for a remake, Devil May Cry doesn't, and frankly it's a testament to the original game's longevity. In conclusion, Devil May Cry remains a shining example of stylish action gaming, even over 2 decades after its original release. With its fluid combat mechanics, captivating atmosphere, and memorable one-liners, it's no wonder Devil May Cry has left an indelible mark on the gaming landscape. Whether you're revisiting the game for nostalgia's sake or experiencing it for the first time, Devil May Cry is a must-play title that deserves its place among the pantheon of gaming classics. And that's it for the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Do any likes, follows, comments, or subscribes that you may wish or want to do on my YouTube and on my Twitch channel. I do promise, at some point, I will have some nice outro music for these credits. Until then, thanks very much for your time, and I'll catch you in the future.
You have no more messages.